Canada's Liberal Party has won a fourth consecutive election, a stunning turnaround for Prime Minister Mark Carney, who campaigned hard on standing up to President Trump's trade war and threats to make Canada the 51st U.S. state. For the latest, let's head to Ottawa, where Bloomberg's David Gura is with us. David, of course, this is a pivotal moment for Canada. Talk to us about what Canadians voted for.
This is a moment that was inconceivable just a few short months ago when Justin Trudeau was in the end of his 10-year-long prime ministership here in Canada. There was widespread dissatisfaction with the direction of this country, with the economy. Justin Trudeau represented that, and the Liberal Party represented that. And then we saw this change where Mark Carney won that Liberal leadership election and Donald Trump returned to the White House in Washington, and that changed everything. It changed the entire dialogue around the political landscape here in Canada. So yes, it continued to be about the state of the Canadian economy, about debts and deficits and a housing shortage in this country. But what was really resonant were the threats from Donald Trump that came over and over again about that long-standing economic and trade relationship between the U.S. and Canada and how Donald Trump wants to alter that. But also about Canadian sovereignty and what started as what seemed like a joke on the president's part, saying he wanted to assume Canada is the 51st state, happened over and over and over again, and that joke fell flat. And Mark Carney, who's projected to be the winner of this election now, is someone who said over again that he never thought that that was a joke, thought it was funny. He took Donald Trump at his word when he said that, and so that was something that provided the grist for his candidacy and really changed the tenor and the contour of this campaign. It was something that Mark Carney talked an awful lot about, the kind of magnitude of that threat from the United States. And we saw his closest rival, the conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, having to talk about it as well. And so fundamentally what voters here were choosing between were two candidates who offered differing views of how they plan to approach what will be an incredibly important meeting when it takes place between the Canadian Prime Minister and the President of the United States, dealing again with those two issues, the economic relationship between these two countries and where that's headed, and also the sovereignty of this country, Haslinda.
Well, David, the big question is, how will Carney govern? You talk about all the challenges, a political landscape upended by Trump. We have energy security top of mind. The economy as a whole needs a boost as well. How will Carney do it?
Through a lot of fiscal spending. And so you look at the programs that he's proposed. Yes, there's a small tax cut that he's proposed for the lowest income bracket in this country, but he also wants to put a tremendous amount of money toward building housing in this country. He talks about it as a generational challenge, the need to invest a lot of money in building those houses and training the workforce to build those houses as well. Now, you ask about the challenges of his governance here. CTV is projecting now that he'll have a minority government. Now, this is not without precedent. There have been prime ministers who have governed with a minority in the past, but it makes the road that he has to hoe a lot more difficult. He'll have to work with some of the smaller parties that were in this election. So that could be the New Democratic Party or the Green Party, the Bloc Québécois, none of whom picked up a significant amount of seats here, but he will need them if, in fact, that's how this election turns out in the end. So that'll be a fascinating thing to watch here, how somebody who is a technocrat by career. Mark Carney has never been an elected politician before. He did win his riding or his district tonight in this election, is going to go about doing that kind of political maneuvering that it's going to take here to govern this country going forward. It'll be fascinating to watch.